I'm Bridgette with PotomacBeads.com. Join me today in creating this Rising Sun Pendant. If you need any of the materials, they are listed at the beginning of this video, as well as below me in the description area. You'll find a link to both PotomacBeads.com and PotomacBeads.eu. So gather up your materials and come create with me. So to start our Setting Sun pendant, I already have my pieces kind of laid out exactly where I want them. So they're just in sets of 2 BowTrios facing each other, and then we have the Superduo halo bead in between each one of those sets. So to start off, I'm going to pick up 2 of my 11-Os, kind of pull those down close to the end of your thread, and I'm going to go through one of the loops of my setting. And then back through the 2 seed beads that you just added on. And here I'm going to tie just a simple knot, right over left, left over right, to keep my thread attached to this setting. So from here I'm going to start off by just going through the first row of my beads. So just the first hole of my BowTrios and the first hole of my Halo Beads Superduos. So taking those up around that first row, and at first everything will be a bit loose. But once we start going down the second and third rows of our beads, you'll see that the sun kind of starts getting its shape. All right, so here we are. So again, we're just going through all of those first holes, and then we'll kind of pull it tight so we can get the look of it right. All right, so here we go. And again, once we go down the second hole, everything will kind of fall right into place. So here I'm going to pick up 2 more of my 11-Os and do the same as I did on the other side. I'm going to go through that second loop on my setting, and then go back down through those 2 seed beads. And here we'll pull that nice and tight. There we go. And then I'm going to add on 4 of my seed beads. And I'm going to go through my second hole of my BowTrios. So from here, I have my seed beads. I'll also need my Superduos and some 15s. And we're going to start by picking up an 11 and a Superduo and an 11, and going through that second hole of your second BowTrio. Oh, I got a little twisted there. Let me just pull this out. There we go. And from here, I'm going to jump up into my Superduo, into the second hole that hasn't been used yet. And again, just pulling that nice and tight. And from here, again, I'm going to go down into my second row of my BowTrios and add the same exact 11-O, Superduo, 11-O, and through that next BowTrio. And then up through the halo bead Superduo. So you'll continue this until you get to the end, so just through the next 3. Oh, I'm having trouble getting into that hole. There we go. So again, just down through your Superduos. So after I'm through my halo bead here, I'm going to go down through my BowTrios, add my 11s and my Superduos, and then up and around. So all the way up until you get to the end point here. Alright, so once we've made it through to the other side, adding our 11s and our Superduos, I'm going to add on 4 of my 11s. I'm going to let them fall. And I'm going to come up through my very first 2 11s on this side. Kind of make sure that tail doesn't get stuck in there. And I'm going to go back through my loop here once. And back down through all of my 11s. So those first 2 and those 4 that I just added on. And now through those 4. And they are very close to the size of the BowTrio holes, so sometimes you just have to make sure they don't get stuck in there. Okay, so from here, I'm gonna go through again my second hole of my BowTrios. And this time I'm going to add a 15 and go through that second hole of my Superduos that I just added on. And then another 15 on the other side of that Superduo, and then through my BowTrio. Get that guy in there. And from here, I'm going to go and add my disco ball. And then through my next BowTrio, doing the same thing through that second hole. Adding 15 to both sides of that Superduo. And then going through my BowTrio, and then adding on my disco ball. So keep going with this pattern up until you reach the opposite side of your sun. So once we made it to the opposite side here, I actually already did this next step. What you're going to want to do is go up through these seed beads. So the 4 and then the 2, so up through the 6 seed beads. You're going to go through your loop here. So you'll come out on the other side and then come back down those 6 seed beads. So I'm over here, I'm coming out of this last seed bead here on the side. And I'm going to add 5 of my 11s and 1 of my 15s. And I'm gonna jump up to that third hole of my BowTrios. All right, so you get a nice little lining there around the BowTrios. Then I'm gonna add 1 15 and 4 of my 11-Os. And then another 15. And from there, I'm gonna go through into my disco ball. And you know what, let me redo that step, and it'll actually be 3 11-Os. I think the 4 is just a little too much. So we're gonna do 1 15, 3 of the 11-Os, so 1 2 3, and then 1 more 15. And then now we'll go through our disco ball. There we go. So again, it's 1 15 and then 3 11-Os, and then another 15, jumping up into that third hole of our BowTrios. And we're going to do this all the way around, just adding on the 15, 3 11s, and 15, going through your disco ball, and then back up through your BowTrios. So keep doing this until we get over to the end of this side. All right, so here I'm coming out of my BowTrio here, and I'm adding on a 15, and then we'll do 5 of our 11-Os, and we'll come and connect through our 11-Os that are already there. And we're right by where our tail end is. So I'm actually going to pull that around to the back side here. And I'll go ahead and tie a knot with my working thread and my tail end. And we are all set. So let me just get this tail end back there, if I can. And if not, I will just tie the knot up front. There we go. So here we're just going to be tying off our thread. And trimming down the extra thread that we have, because now we are done with our sewing part. So here we have it. And now I'm just going to add in my cabochon. I'm using the cabochons from the Sunset Mix. So I think I'm going to be using that one. But they come in packs of 5, so you have a lot of choices to choose from. So these were just some of the options I had. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to do that one. There. It's kind of hard to choose sometimes when you're looking at it, but I think I like the yellow one. So I have my Loctite here, and you can either use Loctite, or if you have super new glue, or whichever kind of glue you prefer, and just put a little bit down, and I'm just going to spread that around a tiny bit. You don't need too much, but just enough to kind of hold it in there. And then just place your cabochon in there. And these are the 25mm cabochons. And that'll dry pretty quickly if you're using the Loctite. So while that dries, I'm going to grab my jump rings and my chain. Alright, so using your pliers, you're going to undo your jump rings. And depending on the length that you want of your necklace is just however long you want to cut your chain. So I have it about 18 inches long for my necklace. So if you want it longer or shorter, that's up to you. So I'm going to add my jump ring and then just right onto my chain. And close that up. And then again with the other side, just undoing your jump ring and going through that loop and then through your chain. Oops. And there we have it. So we have our Rising Sun Pendant. Thanks again for joining, and I hope you enjoyed creating your own Rising Sun Pendant. Remember, if you do need any of the materials, there is a link below me in the description area to both PotomacBeads.com and PotomacBeads.eu. And as always, be sure to comment below. I love to see how this design helped inspire your own.